Hi. How do we see if there's anyone there?
No,
There's not anyone there.
no, kind of. That's speaking. You know, there's still some time left.
Right.
I will grab my. I also have this in my hand.
Hey,
Who's there?
welcome. Glad to see you guys showing up. We're in Hawaii. We haven't had much wind the last few days, and I've been helping my friend Paul with some of his windsurfing. And so, with everyone indoors with the corona scare, this is Paul.
Hey, hello.
We thought, well, why don't we share some of these things? And so that was the intention behind doing this.
Okay,
And
there, hello.
hey, Steve. And so we're hoping to get some people together while everyone's stuck indoors and to share some windsurfing knowledge. And if this goes well and people are interested, it's something I'd be happy to keep doing as well. So I would like you guys to kind of guide it and see what you guys want to learn, what you guys are interested in. So we can do kind of whatever you want. I mean, my focus is obviously in wave sailing, and I'm happy to share all the knowledge that I have. I got to make sure none of my competitors are watching. But
Oh, they will watch.
yeah, so it's great to see everyone.
They can learn a lot, you know.
Yeah, so these secrets they you can't share them. It's in the club only.
Okay, there are people from UK,
Yeah, I guess everyone is
Spain.
yeah, cool. I'm still trying to figure out, this is my first time doing this, so we'll see kind of what the best way for you guys to interact with me, because I think that's pretty important. I'm gonna wait a little bit for a few more people to log in, and then we can get into some of the instruction that you guys already requested. I think, with
Holland, there are people from the Netherlands. So where are you from, guys? That would be interesting. Japan, look, there's
Ah,
a guy
cool.
from Japan. Shout outs to Japan.
Yeah, where is everyone? Come on, let's see some locations. Can everyone see the locations when they type it in?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Oh, they're sending already hearts. Bubbles. Which is nice. Yeah, if you share it here, Kurt Mader from Holland, like Michel van S. I hope the spelling is right.
Nice.
What is this?
I'm all over. I hope everyone is healthy.
The US. Shadowway is also. The young guy. Hawaii. Hi. Italy. Shout outs to Italy. Greek. Spain.
Hey, Alex.
Nice for tuning in.
Yeah, so why don't we, while we're kind of waiting for people to come in, I'll talk about some of the
South
most
Africa.
requested...
Sam is there.
Oh, hey, Sam. Some of the most requested technique. So we had a lot of requests for loops, back loops, wave 360s, which we're going to get into today, tabletops, gear setup, tacks, aerials. A lot of people interested in doing aerials, jumps. And so that's kind of the basic of what we're going to cover today. And I'd like to kind of leave it up to you guys as well with what you're interested in. So we'll kind of go through stuff, and then you can stop me or speed me up if it's something that you're interested in or you want to hear more about. So I hope that this is a pretty interactive experience. So Paul, we've been kind of working together. I've been helping you a little bit.
A lot.
Which is always interesting for me because I don't know necessarily, what people are trying to learn or what tips speak the most. So like, what do you think has been the most helpful for you?
I think the most helpful thing for me is getting also some direct feedback from you when we are together on the water, and if you see, and then it's like all the little hints, like all the little insights, all the little tips, and sometimes just putting the sail hand more front. It's also about like what you told me about the setup. And can you remember last year when we were on the beach and I was I have to figure out how to improve my cutback, and then you went with me like Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid down to the beach at Keeper, just with my board, and I put my hands in, and then okay, now try this. Like what's that like that's what, can you remember?
Yes,
So,
that was an exercise that we did in the shore break where you put the hands in the foot straps on the board, and so you don't have any sail, it's just the board. And with the board you ride the foot strap, you ride the shore break waves.
Look, there's a wave.
And what it forces you to do is to use the power of the wave to steer the board, because you don't have a lot of force in your arms. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're trying to learn how to do cutbacks or powerful cutbacks is they're steering the gear too much rather than letting the wave do the work. And there's a lot of recurring themes that you'll see as we're talking about all these different moves. And I think the biggest one is that you want the wave to do the work. So with all of these moves, it's not about forcing anything. It's about being in the right place, being in the right time, and then having the right body position to let the wave do the work for you.
Yeah.
So the wave has so much power, the ocean has so much power, you're never going to overpower it. You're not going to muscle it. It's like a dance, and you want to be using the power of the ocean to push you through these maneuvers, whether it's a cutback, an aerial, or a 360, or even just getting out, over the waves. It's not about fighting the waves, it's about being in the right position so that you can go through them or over them. So like, just to extrapolate a little bit more on that example, one of the things I tell people for getting out over whitewaters, the most important thing is the angle of your board. So if this is the whitewater coming, you want your board to be perpendicular with the whitewater. You go a little bit on the tail, and then the whitewater just pushes under the board, and the board gets carried over the whitewater. But if you have a little bit of angle in your board, a little bit upwind, a little bit downwind, what happens is the wave is not able to go under the board, because the board is made for the water flow to go directly under it, right? So if it's coming on straight on, it'll just pop over the whitewater and you're fine. But if you have a little bit of angle, it's going to catch the board, it's going to want to flip it over, it's going to want to carry you in, and you see people in onshore spots struggling to get out through whitewaters, and that's the biggest tip that can help them is to really, when you get to a whitewater, you kind of jam the board a bit upwind so that the nose is directly into the whitewater.
So Eli Phil is saying the Baltic Sea has no power at all. You should know.
That's not true, actually.
That is actually not true.
I've had some pretty powerful waves sailing in Weissenhaus. And this is pretty fun there. It reminds me a lot of Cabezo in Tenerife. You can do 360s and aerials.
But you need a lot of wind at the Baltic Sea, so
yeah, that's true.
It's
got to be windy.
Yeah, that brings me to another interesting question for everyone who's watching. I would love to know what's the home spot of you guys is like.
Yeah, that's a great question. Type in your home spots. I'd love to see where people are sailing, and hopefully the beaches are still open. I heard from some friends in Spain that some of the beaches are being shut down. Which is
today, I think from today on.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but
which hopefully people are staying safe, social distanced, but can still get on the water. So yeah, Pozo, Italy,
UK, South UK,
South Coast, England.
Nice. 74 home spot Italy.
Nice. Australia, Gold Coast. Nice.
Tiefenwinkel, Weissenhaus, there's some guy, the home spot is
Yeah.
So shout out to
I love Weissenhaus.
Gold Coast, Austria.
I've always had fun there. I think every session I've had there. It's when I'm in Europe over the summer, staying in Hamburg, it's about an hour drive.
Holland, Wiek, Limons, Greece, Limnos, sorry.
Turkey, southwest Turkey. Wow, that sounds fun. Is there any, when I think of Turkey, I always think of kind of free ride slalom conditions. Is there any bump and jump or wave sailing in Turkey?
Oh Oh, you see, all beaches in Tenerife are closed.
Wow. Yeah, nice. Nice. Good to see we've got representation from all over the world.
Also from Japan.
Yeah, shaka to Japan. I love Omiyazaki. That's, I think, one of my favorite places.
You're a big fan
to
of
windsurf.
Japan, right?
I love Japan. I love Japan. I love windsurfing there. I love being there.
People are nice. Food is great.
One thing that really surprises Europeans when I tell them this, but Japan has an amazing windsurfing culture. It's probably one of the place, or the place, that sort of impresses me the most. You know, you go to these bays, maybe, I don't know, it's like an hour outside of Tokyo on a weekend, and you'll see 200 people, 300 people on the water. It's really amazing. Not to mention like Omiyazaki, which is a hardcore wave spot. The season is winter, so you're sailing there when it's snowing, when it's blowing 40 knots and 0 degrees Celsius. And the first time I went there, I was dying. I wasn't prepared for such cold. And the local Japanese crew, they just handle it. They're real legends. Yeah, cool.
Shout out to London.
Hey, Daphne. So one other thing about gear setup before we get started. I think most people underestimate how they're tuning their gear. You know, they think, oh, I'm not that good, or it's not going to affect me. I'm not going to feel the difference. But the truth is that even just tiny changes, so 1 centimeter, 1 inch changes to how you're setting up your foot straps or your mast rack make a huge difference for your performance. And I will give you some general tips and general rules, which I think are good to follow, but personal preference is everything. And so it depends on your height, your weight, what your conditions are. So I think it's really important for people to play with their setup. So to move their straps around, move their mast rack around, move their fins around, and feel what those changes do. So I'll go over some general things now. So this is something that we've been working on with Paul. So with your foot straps, for example, I see a lot of people doing them low and wide, but what most of the pro guys do, and again, this comes down to personal preference, but what you see on pretty much 100% of the pro boards is you want the straps to be narrow on the sides and high on the top. So it's pinching the sides of your foot, but you have a lot of room
I'll read that for you.
in there. Okay. And what that does is it gives you a lot of control, but also the freedom to come out of the straps if you need to. And it also allows your foot to get really in there, which gives you a lot of control over the board. Because if only your toes are in the strap, you don't have a lot of power, a lot of ways to leverage the board. So it's pretty important to be able to get your foot in there. The other big mistake I see is straps too close together. So I would say if you're wave sailing, you want the distance between the two straps to be not less than 18 inches. So I think that is about 45, 46 centimeters. And I would say that's the absolute minimum you want that distance to be. Yeah. So for most production boards, that probably means setting up the straps like with a few holes apart, not necessarily like farthest forward, because that'll probably be too narrow. And having a wider stance, it gives you more balance. It gives you the ability to push on the front and on the back of the board.
More control.
It gives you more control. It helps you get low. It does a lot of things that you want to see.
I'm always thinking about to compare it to snowboarding, because with a wider stand, you also have more control in the air and about more control in the air and more control in the rotation and also in the landing. And jumping, it's like when you stand wider, you know, that makes a huge difference. And the another thing was the straps. We spoke about that like 2 weeks ago when I asked you about, because actually I want to change my strap game and go deeper into it. Is like I was asking about, so okay, what is, because I think that is a question a lot of people have, is how do you say, like how tight you should be, you should make the straps around you, how tight they should be around your foot, you know. And you said something like, what did you say, like tight on the side, but loose on the top.
Yeah, tight on the side, loose on the top. You want it to be high and tight. And so sometimes on a, here, come a bit closer. Sometimes on a production board, that means,
Social distance.
it means putting the hole, so like, it means coming in one hole. So if you're on the farthest, so say this is the set of inserts on the back strap, if you're putting it in the farthest back here, you might want to put it the third from the farthest, or the second from the back there, to make it a little bit tighter than what's intended. Because when they're making the boards, they're accommodating for people wearing boots. They have to err on the bigger side, because a small foot can get in a big space, but a big foot can't get in a small space. So often you want to go a little bit narrower for the specific foot strap than what the production boards are set up for, and then go wider on the stand, so the distance between the front strap and the back strap. And that might feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but you'll see big improvements quite quickly.
So actually people start laughing about the chicken in the background, because Ricardo was mentioning it in the chat, that there's a chicken in the back. Yeah, you can hear it. And I think that is really a thing you have to clarify for the people who not visiting Maui, that, you know, you think here are turtles and dolphins. For sure they are, but yeah, also there's so many chickens around on Hawaii.
Yeah, Maui is full of wild chickens.
That's
I actually don't know why.
They live in the palm trees. It's.
I mean, there's a huge plantation history here with, which I guess the chickens are from that. I'm not sure, or maybe they date farther back. It's something actually I've never thought to look more into. I don't know the history of chickens in Hawaii, but there's a lot of chickens.
Yeah, you have to deal with the chickens, and also here on the live stream you have to deal with the chickens. So there's no way around.
All right, so let's get into some of this. So
let's watch some videos, right?
So I've got videos. So I asked for videos to be sent in that I could critique, and we've got some of them selected here. So one of the most requested moves to learn is the 360, the Wave 360, which, full disclaimer, I gotta say off the bat, is an incredibly difficult move. So it takes a lot of work to be able to land Wave 360s consistently. And so it's not something that there's one or two things I can say and then suddenly you'll be landing them. But I was impressed with a lot of the video. It looks like you guys are getting pretty close, and hopefully with my tips, you guys can start landing them. So this video is from Steve Thorpe in the UK, who...
Is the picture okay?
Can we see it here? We can... Okay, so here's the first 360 attempt. So the most important thing with a 360 is timing and wave placement. So not every wave is going to offer a 360 section. And on waves that do, there's maybe only a meter of space where it's possible to do a 360. So the most important aspects of doing a 360 is the timing and wave selection. So if we look at this clip from Steve, he's got a good bottom turn, he's coming into the section, but the wave is kind of already broken. And so there's not a lot of forward push from the lip. So if we look, so I don't know if you guys can see this, but right here, the wave is throwing. And so he actually has a better chance of making the wave 360 by placing the board where the wave is pushing forward. However, that said, you don't, especially when you're learning, you don't want to be doing 360s going into the section. So the easiest way to do a 360 is with the wave. So if the wave is breaking this way, you want to come up with the board on this side of the lip, and it's pushing you into the more unbroken part of the wave. Now, there are a lot of different kinds of 360s. So we're going to come back to Steve's video, but I want to go through some of my video clips to show the different variations on the 360, because we call them all wave 360s, but actually they're kind of different moves because they're so different. So here, this is I kind of pulled these just at random. So this is maybe the most basic kind of 360. So I'll watch it and then I'll go slow. So it's not a particularly impressive wave. It's kind of a whitewater section, and I'm coming vertical and then being pushed around by the whitewater and re-entering. And so I want to contrast that style of 360 with this style of 360, which is a complete aerial maneuver. So one of the big differences is that when I'm taking off on this wave, my board is facing almost completely down the line. So I haven't done a vertical bottom turn at all. In fact, I've barely done any bottom turn at all. And the only similarity between these moves is the direction of the rotation, and that I'm using the lip to push me around in the rotation. Now, there's also a kind of 360 which is in between the two, which is maybe which is maybe kind of the easiest to think about doing when you're trying to learn the 360. So there's a bit of a bottom turn, and I'm coming up, but I'm not coming completely vertical. My board is still pointing somewhat down the line. Oops. And it's an aerial maneuver, but not so much so as the other one. Okay, so now with these clips sort of in our head and those different styles of 360, let's go back to Steve's footage. Let's find another 360
so nice
attempt.
that Steve sent you that footage. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so this is a great example. So Steve is trying to do a 360 kind of like this first style that we talked about, right? Where you're coming into on the shoulder of a broken wave, hitting the whitewater and flipping around that last 180. So as he approaches the lip, the number one thing in the wave 360 is timing and placement. So you can see that the wave is not pushing very much here. And so my first thought is that this wave is not even offering the opportunity to do a 360. And if you are to try a 360, the exact moment to hit the wave is here, because that's where it's pushing the most. And so if he had done the exact same motion, been a little bit later and a little bit farther up, it might have been enough, there might have been enough power to push him back in. But again, that wave itself doesn't have much power, so it's really difficult to do a 360, or almost impossible to do a 360 on a wave that doesn't have the push or the power to get you back in the wave and to do the rotation for you. I think one of the biggest tips that helped me was when I was learning the 360s. I think Levi said you basically want to do nothing. The gear and the wave want to do that rotation. So you just set it up and you let the wave and you let the wind and you let the sail guide you through it. So it's not a rotation that you have to force. So rather than thinking about really muscling the move, it's about really reading the wave and trying to find the right section. So again, so this next clip, going into the section like this is really, really difficult to do a 360. So again, so it's more about, the most important thing is about placement. And so on this next example, again, so where he's hitting the wave, it's a bit too early, so there isn't a lot of push. And if you keep watching, you can see that the wave still isn't pushing. So the moment to do the 360 would maybe be, there might not even be a moment on this wave, but if there is, it's maybe in here, because that seems to have the most power that's pushing forward. And so then again, it would be a similar, he's got the right body positioning, which I'll get to also in a second, but just the incorrect placement on the wave, which for the 360 is really, really important. Nice cutbacks here from Steve. Nice power. So again, this is the same thing. He's going into the section, and so you notice if you watch footage from the pros and from competitions, you will almost never see 360s going into a section. You'll almost always see it either on a closeout, which is rare, but it happens, but most often going with the wave. So you're going with the direction of the wave. So again, so Steve is doing a lot right in terms of his position, his body work, his board work. He's got a good bottom turn. He's coming up great with a lot of speed. The sail position looks good, but the wave, he's just in the wrong spot on the wave, and that's so important to remember. So like when I'm setting up for a 360 at Hakipa, all I'm doing is watching the wave, and I'm looking for the section that's going to throw the most. So the section where the lip is going to throw, and so I'm setting up so that I'm just upwind of that, so I can bottom turn to get my board into that section, so that you can feel the lip tap the bottom of the board to throw your rig into the rotation, and also in front of the wave.
Which is a scary moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when you start doing 360s, there's a bit of fear because you come around blind. Because you're rotating. Oh, that's a nice back loop, Steve. You're rotating in a way that you can't see where you're landing. Yeah, Alex is just pointing out, Alex is a 360 master, that 90% of the move is the timing, and I couldn't agree more. It's all about timing. It's all about wave placement. So I'll get into now a few other tips about body positioning. So Steve is doing a good job. Let's look at because Steve is doing a good job with the positioning, and so let's look at that. So you want to keep your front arm bent. So as you're bottom turning and coming back up into the lip, you want to keep your front arm bent and close to your body as you're extending the back arm, so you're sheeting out. One of the bigger mistakes that you see people make is they've got both their arms straight, and the problem is that then you don't have a lot of power to move the sail because you're already extended, and so you hit the lip, and then what often happens then is you hit the lip and it kind of throws you around and you land on your back. But if you have the sail tight to your body with your front arm bent, then when you hit the lip, you have a lot of control because you're more compact, you're more of a unit with the gear, and it allows you, as you're rotating, to sheet in and push out with the front arm, which helps complete the rotation and helps bring your body upright. So if you're trying this move and you're falling on your back, which is I think a common mistake, I think one of the most useful tips is to keep the front arm bent and close to your body as you're extending your back arm going into the move. And then as you're rotating, once you're already rotating, then you can push up with the front arm and sheet in with the back hand. Another point about the timing, you don't have to go too vertical. So one of the things that you see in these 360 videos is that every attempt is a very vertical 360. Especially when the waves are not ideal, it can be better to have the board positioned somewhat down the line. So in a similar position to how you would do a frontside aerial. So if I go back to this clip, so you can see that as the section is throwing, I'm hitting it very similar to how I would do a frontside aerial. The only difference is my body is in the position to do a 360. So I've got my front arm close to me and bent, I'm sheeted out, and as the lip pushes me around, then I just sheet in, extend, and catch the landing. And really it's, when you're doing these, they feel effortless because it's the timing and the wave that's doing the work for you. It's not a move that it requires a lot of muscling at all.
Would this help Steve, like this technique for the wave he choose?
I think so, because when you're dealing with mushy, I mean, there's two approaches with mushy waves. So you can go kind of over vertical and kind of fold over the top and come around, and then you, especially when the wind is onshore, or you go a little bit more down the line. And when you're going more down the line, you can get a bit more projection from the wave. And so then that can help, even though the wave doesn't have as much power, that you're still getting that projection, that rotational force.
Cool. So, just one thing, K4 Fins is asking top tips. I've been trying to go past 12. Are the most horizontal ones better in certain conditions? Sorry.
I think in general you want to think about being more horizontal. I think it's a bit easier of a rotation. So you'll see that at Hokipa, you'll also see that in Pozo. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with onshore or offshore riding. It does depend a bit on what the wave is offering. You know, the most important thing is the timing, is the placement on the wave. But I think that's a tip that if everyone who's trying 360s goes out and does a day where they're not trying to go vertical and they're trying to do them more down the line, I think it'll open up something in their brains where they'll realize something about the move. They'll see the move in a different light, which is a general theme, I think, when you're trying to learn things in windsurfing. If you can change some small aspects, even just for a day, so that maybe means, I don't know, trying to do the move one-handed. So say you don't do backflips, but then you start trying some one-handed backflips. It can give you a perspective on the wave ride and on the move that opens up something in your mind, and suddenly you realize, oh, that's what the wave is doing, or oh, that's what the sail is doing. And then you can go back to your other technique with a broader understanding of the move.
Now we get the answer. I think I was asking as a project. Yeah, maybe it's...
we were wondering if this was going to be mirrored or not. I guess it is.
Yeah. We have some questions from Ricardo, if you stay tuned.
So, again, I think that kind of the easiest way to do a 360, easiest way to learn a 360 is somewhere in the middle of the extreme. So you don't want to be going straight downwind, but you also don't want to be going too vertical. The other problem with going vertical is you often lose speed, and speed, as with everything in windsurfing, is really important. The faster you're going, the better you rotate, the more balance you have, the easier everything is. Everything is easier with speed. So again, if you want to think when you're doing the 360, the most important thing is getting the moment when the lip is pushing, that it's hitting the bottom of the board, and then that's what's pushing you back inside the wave, and it's also guiding your rotation. And so you're set up with your body in the right position, so with your front arm bent and close to you, you're sheeted out, and you want to be bent in your legs. That's actually another important point. So you want your legs bent. So as you're coming up to the lip, you want your legs to be bent, and as you're coming off the lip, you can straighten your legs. And that extension of your legs, it does two things. One is it starts to push you back inside the wave, because you're coming up, you're hitting the lip, and you're extending, and it's pushing you backwards into the wave. And then two, it gives you more projection. So it's kind of like a jump, or jump on a trampoline, or jump on any kind of jump, where that extension is giving you lift, and so it helps the lip push you, right? So you're kind of pushing off of the lip.
I'm actually pretty pumped to go out and try 360
right
now.
So all of you guys,
I'm wondering if people having particular questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions about what I'm saying or questions about the 360, please write them in, and I'll answer all of them.
It's a good time to.
And then after this as well, if you have footage of your 360s, send them to me.
Tag him, send it.
Tag them. I set up a Discord channel. I don't know if people are into that, but the link is on my Instagram profile, and so if you join that, then we can also.
Ciao. This is dangerous. That's actually
360s. I think 360s are not dangerous. It obviously depends on the wave that you're doing it on.
Jaws.
Yeah, if you're doing it on a huge wave, then yeah, it can be dangerous. But it's, I think, a lot easier than other moves because you're underneath the gear.
Jaws.
Yeah. If you're never on top of the gear, so there's never a chance of getting too beat up, like maybe can happen with a goiter or a taka. I think the move feels relatively safe to do.
I think like good if you stay compact, as you said, like unite with the gear,
Mm-hmm.
like bend your knees. I think all these are good examples of how to land that move safe.
So here's one more video that someone sent in of a 360 attempt.
For a knee, is it dangerous for a knee? Was a question.
Oh, for your knees. I don't think so. Because you're underneath the gear, you don't have a lot of impact or any impact on your knees. Whereas with other moves, maybe there's a lot of force or there's a lot of twisting. I think one of the...
There's no plan landing, right?
I mean, you can land flat, but I mean that's way down the line to land flat. One of the dangers, I guess, can be coming out of one of the straps and being stuck in one strap, and then the board twists your foot. That's probably the most dangerous aspect of learning wave 360s. But
always dangerous in wave sailing.
Yeah, that's always an issue when you're wave sailing. And if you have your straps set up loose enough, then you should be able to come out of them when you need to. I think that's
Luca
important.
Spindler and Tommaso Bonatelli sent a request for tuning in live.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
So I want to FaceTime with you here and with the people.
Yeah, sure. Should we say hi?
We can.
So here, let me just finish this one clip. So I don't know if you can see this because this is a bit of a smaller video. But this is another 360 that was sent in. And it's a very similar issue to what Steve's issues were, which is that he's doing really a lot correct.
Oh, yeah, it's super small.
You know, it's really difficult to see right here. But he's really doing a lot correct. He just needs to be in a different position. So again, he's going into the section, which is incredibly difficult for 360s. And he's going about a half second too early. So you can see that by the time the wave really starts throwing, he's already halfway through the rotation. And that's the moment that he actually wants to be hitting the wave. And so this is a good example of where doing a more down the line 360, I think, could work there, and he'd get enough projection to then come in front of the white water over there. All right, here we keep going.
Just a little reminder.
Yeah?
We're 40 minutes.
Okay.
We have just 1 hour.
All right, so we've got like
we have to
another...
stop it and do it again.
Yeah, so we've got about another 20 minutes or so. So we...
How to do a goiter.
So, how to do a goiter.
Maybe next time, right?
I think goiters are pretty complicated. Let's save those to next time.
They're pretty interesting and pretty nice.
Yeah, goiters are a great move. I really, it's one of the moves that I love to do in windsurfing.
You can Google them and you see people with goiters here.
I think goiter is a disgusting illness, and Mark Angulo, who invented the move, called it that because he wanted to be edgy and the magazines to print it. I think if for learning goiters, one of the most important things is to get the rotation down right, and so you don't even worry about landing back inside the wave. So go on sort of a medium-sized wave, come up to the lip where it's steep, and then throw yourself down, pushing out with the clue, and then you start getting the rotation out the back, and that's kind of the most important start to the move.
Speed.
Yeah, speed, and then but just being comfortable in the rotation, and then you can start trying to land them back inside the wave. But we can do goiters next time, because that maybe takes up a whole hour. I want to quickly go over frontside aerials, because that was another incredibly requested maneuver. And so like the 360, it's a lot about wave selection and wave placement. So the frontside aerial is all about getting the wave to do the work for you. So with a frontside aerial, you don't have to do much of a bottom turn. You can come almost without bottom turning into the lip, and as long as you place your board, I like to think of putting the bottom of the board exactly into the lip so that they're connected like this. And then as long as you do that, the lip will push you up, push you forward, push you out in front of the wave. So here's an example, water shot for me, where you can see, getting into the curl of the wave and how the board is, it's not flat, it's being maneuvered. I'm maneuvering it so that the bottom of the board is being hit by the lip of the wave, which really helps with the projection. So I've got some videos of some errors somewhere. So I selected these because these are kind of really simple aerials where you can see that I'm not doing much work. It's just about timing. So I'm not even bottom turning, I'm just coming up to the lip, placing the board into the lip at the moment that it throws, and then it's just feeling that transfer of power. You can sheet in or sheet out depending on what you feel you need to do. So generally you want to kind of keep your balance. So if you sheet in, it brings you forward, and if you sheet out, it kind of fall back, and the easiest way to land is on your tail. So you can kind of control, kind of like as if the sail is a parachute, kind of how you're landing. So you can see here, kind of I sheet in a bit to come a bit more forward because I'm a bit back, and then that allows me to land on top of the board with a lot of speed. And so here we can watch another one So again, the reason I chose this example is because you can really see that I'm not doing a lot of work. It's just using the wave. So again, very, very shallow bottom turn, coming up exactly to the moment when the wave is throwing, and then just putting the board under the wave. And so again, it's a feeling of the board's not flat like this. The board is, I've got my weight a little bit into the bowl of the wave. I'm a bit on my heels, and I'm putting the bottom of the board, the bottom of the board into the lip, and then allowing it to project me forward. So again, the theme here is that it's all about wave selection and timing, as well as wave placement.
I don't know if you can see it, but I think most important is also that the wave is on kind of the steepest point,
Yeah, you've got to do it where the wave is steep, and where the lip is throwing.
Right. I just don't know if you can see it on the screen there.
Because, not all waves are offering sections for Wave 360. Not all waves are offering the opportunity to do an aerial either. You need to have a bit of lip throwing forward. All right, we're getting some more questions. Do we consider another platform to stream? This is an experiment. I'm really open to doing more stuff like this. And so we'll kind of see.
Right?
Yeah, Instagram is really easy right now, but if YouTube or Twitch or something
livestream.com
is better, that's something I'd like to do. How do you control or land tricks during air on high jumps? It's a lot about sail control. So you want to kind of think about the sail as a bit of a parachute. So you can really control the rig when you're in the air, and the more compact you are, the more control you have as well. So you don't want to have your arms straight and your legs straight. You want to have your legs tucked up. You want your core to be tight, and that makes more of a unit, and you've got a lot of control. So some general things. So like if you're sheeting in, it's going to lift you forward. If you're sheeting out, it's going to let you fall back. And so you can kind of, by doing that, you can kind of control where your orientation is in the air. And often you want to land sort of on your tail. You don't want to land too flat, because that puts a lot of force in your body, puts a lot of force on the board.
Staying compact is, I think, super important. Looking maybe sometimes over the shoulder so they can see where you land.
Yeah, and you can steer a lot with your legs as well. So like if your legs are tight and up, and you've got tension in your legs, you can push the rig forward or upwind by kind of thinking of scissoring your legs one way or the other.
Here's a good question. Another good question, because I like it, because I'm always surfing on the Baltic Sea from time to time. Any tips for an aerial in not so ideal waves like the Baltic Sea?
So I think in those conditions, in Baltic Sea conditions, for example, for doing aerials, it's even more about where you are on the wave. So on this like onshore Baltic Sea days, not every wave is going to offer the opportunity for an aerial, but there will be opportunities, but then there might just be one section, and that section is 1 meter, and it lasts for 1 second. So whereas Kipa, we're kind of spoiled, and like on this wave, this example that I've got here, all these different examples, there are multiple aerial sections on the wave, but that's not the case often when you're in the Baltic Sea. And so like one of the ways that you can actually work on your frontside aerials, I think, is by working on backside aerials.
Exactly.
So by going backside
on the Baltic Sea, it's really good too.
Yeah, and it's an easier technique because you're just kind of sailing upwind when this is for onshore wave sailing, but it helps you realize the timing. So you'll see, okay, if I'm hitting just a little mushy whitewater corner, maybe I can jump this high, but if I'm finding the section that pitches and I'm getting my board again, same principle, getting the board under the lip like this, I'm going to go a lot higher and I'm going to be projected a lot more in front of the wave. And that'll help you find the right sections when you're going front side. It helps you get familiar with the wave and familiar with where you need to be to do a maneuver like that. Then the other key is speed. So speed is so important. So in order to do an aerial in conditions like that, it's a lot about working on your fundamentals. So being able to do a bottom turn where you're coming out with a lot of speed. So when you hit the lip, you've got that speed that can be redirected into the aerial maneuver.
Yeah, I think especially in on spots where you have like where the wind is generating the waves, where you have that kind of wind swell, let's say, like the Baltic Sea is always generating wind swell. I think there are a lot more spots, especially in Europe, where there's wind swell, except of Denmark for sure, or Spain, Portugal. It's because I've seen incredible backside aerials, like really nice one, because that's maybe better to learn there. Like,
yeah, I think going backside is a really good way to learn how to do the frontside maneuvers, and it's kind of a bit more set up when it's onshore wind to do a backside air, do a backside maneuver. One of the mistakes that I see people do when they're trying to do an onshore aerial or even sideshore down the line is they're treating it too much like a jump. And so when they get to the lip, they're lifting up on their front leg, they're pulling up with the front arm, they're trying to do like a push off like they would do on a chop up, or if they're hitting a jump straight on. And what that is doing is actually disconnecting you from the wave, and it often makes those airs worse. It makes them lower, makes them slower, makes them maybe even not even work, because that process of pulling up and away is disconnecting you from the wave. And so actually, rather than pulling away from a wave in the aerial, you're pushing into the wave. So you're pushing into the lip, not away from it. And as you push into it, the lip is pushing you out. And so again, it's using the power of the wave to fly rather than something from your body. And in fact, trying to do it like you would a chop up or another maneuver rather than using the power of the wave actually detracts from the maneuver and makes it more difficult to get that air time. So to bring it back to the Baltic or any kind of onshore wave riding, try to get air going backside without doing the chop hop motion. So just by getting your board in the right position and letting the wave project you. And I think that is a great kind of training for figuring out how to place your board in the wave, what kind of sections you need to hit to get air.
Interesting.
Yeah, our hour is almost
Was it helpful?
Almost up. I hope that's been helpful. We've got there's another aerial question. Any tips for the aerial once you mistime it and you are too late, especially in powerful waves? So if you're too late,
you have to improve your timing.
It's, again, timing is everything. So sometimes if you're too late, then it's just not possible to do an aerial and you have to readjust. So everyone goes too late or too early sometimes. And the most important thing to do then is to adjust and do something different. So if you're too early, you can do a cutback instead of an aerial. And if you're too late, you can do sort of an off the lip instead of the aerial. So again, put your board under the wave. And so instead of catching it on the exact moment where you're projecting, maybe it's like this, you can still get the bottom of the board so it's being hit by the wave, but then it will carry you down and in front. And that way you kind of salvage the section because you still have a lot of speed, so you're still able to travel down the line, even if it's not an aerial. And how do you improve the timing?
It's actually a good question.
Yeah, timing is difficult. It's difficult to get right, and it's incredibly important and it's a lot of feeling. So one of the things, so it's difficult to give some super tips that then suddenly you've got great timing, but there are some tricks that work. So one thing is you want to look at the bottom of the wave. So the bottom of the wave actually tells you more information than the top of the wave, and this is one of the most important things for all wave riding timing. We're not just talking about aerials here. The bottom of the wave, so the trough, tells you what's going to happen. So if you're just looking at the lip, it's actually really difficult to see how much power there's going to be in that section, how even when it's going to break, because sometimes the lip is feathering and it's got white water, but it's not ready to break. But if you see the surface tension start to pull, you see that we say the bottom start to drop, where you can see the bottom of the wave start to come down and start to have that nice bowl shape. That's the moment when the wave is going to break. And the more that bottom is changing, the more the bottom is dropping, the heavier that section is going to be, the more that lip is going to throw. And so by using that visual information of the bottom of the wave, it's a lot easier to get the timing right because you have a better sense of what the wave is doing.
And it's also a lot of practice, right? Reading.
Yeah, and then just time on the water. You know, with windsurfing, time on the water is so important. It's more important than any other training.
And I think it sounds maybe sometimes a little bit, I don't know how to say, but you really have to feel the wave, right? Like to not think too much, just to, I mean, you have to, as you said, like to see the bottom, you have to read the wave, but you also have to kind of go with the flow stuff, you know, like.
Yeah, it's a lot about feeling. So the other
Trust your intuition.
The other tip is that you can't project onto the wave. So you have to read what the wave is doing or what the wave is saying is possible. So if you say, oh, I want to do a 360 on this wave, and you try and force the 360 into any section, it's not going to work. And so the most important aspect of all wave riding is being in sync with the wave. So letting the wave tell you what's possible. Because if you're trying to force it on the wave, it's not going to work. So it's really important to read the wave and let the wave show you what you can do. Maybe it's not a 360 wave, maybe it's not an aerial wave, but there's the opportunity for something else that's equally spectacular. We've got another question. How do we keep speed during the bottom turn? Bottom turns are a whole nother topic, which I'd love to get into. Just some quick tips. You want to stay low, you want to stay close to the wave, you want to have a wide grip. I think one of the most important things is to get that grip wide. So when you're bottom turning, you really reach back on the boom, and that helps you keep your speed. It helps you have control on the sail, control of the rig. For most people as well, they should probably lower their boom. I think when I'm standing on my board on the beach, my boom comes to about here, maybe just below or at my nipples, something there, my chest. You see booms up here, and the problem is, so if you think if you've got your mast, you know, if you're pushing from up here, then you can get the mast over that much, but if you're pushing from down here, you can get the rig over much more, and so you have much more control over the sail.
Super important.
Yeah, lower your boom by about this much, and you'll really feel the difference. It'll feel really weird at first, and maybe it's even too low, but again, it's about this testing, just so
It's not different than us having the boom sometimes here, just from.
Yeah, I mean, you see some guys like, sometimes like, I don't know, Jagger or Moritz, sometimes they've got their boom, on their belly button. It's amazing. What is your highest
peak above the wave?
Peak above the wave. I don't understand the question. Can you rephrase it?
I think the countdowns. I don't know. Maybe we're offline. I mean, there is a countdown.
Yes.
Not yet, but it will come.
Oh, I think I see it on the top. I think we've just got 40 seconds.
All right.
Okay, guys. So Instagram is closing our hour. Keep writing me. I will respond individually with tips. Also, I set up a Discord channel. The link is on my profile. So if you guys join there, then you can post videos and I can give tips and critiques on the Discord channel that then everyone can read and we can all communicate as well
We have
together.
Netflix tonight.
Yeah. All right, stay safe, stay healthy. I hope you guys are getting on the water. Aloha.
That's Shaka.